We go.
Go for it.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the podcast. Episode 162 here tonight. My apologies if my voice gives out at any point. I'm currently under the weather, but I'm also at home, so I can still do the podcast. We got a little bit of an exciting sort of show for you tonight. No Jace, sadly. Yesterday was my conflict in scheduling, and today I was, like I said, I was home, but and he was planning to be here, but then he had a time change, so we actually went regular time on the podcast, maybe slightly earlier, and he wasn't able to do it till quite late. So we wanted to be paying attention and be cognizant of our East Coast folks as well as folks through the Midwest. So not too late. Pacific, you're early, but you guys can catch the VOD. And of course, Tom Walker over in the UK for whatever time it is over there. It's the future at some point. So. Tom saying he's got another game in tomorrow with my Cody list versus Shadow Collective. Tom, stick around. We're going to be talking a little bit, I'd say a fair bit about Cody tonight in terms of our experiences either facing or playing with. So you might have some insight there as well. We're going to be, of course, covering last week in Legion. It'll be mine and a few other stories to tell. The league updates, lots of AMG news, talking about the releases and upcoming boxes there, and then first reactions to basically everything that we're talking about tonight. 2:15 a.m. Tom says, I'm not really sure if that's late or early, but it doesn't really matter. Tom's here nonetheless, and we appreciate that. Speaking of being here and appreciating, we actually have a couple co-hosts tonight. I'll get them here in a minute. So we'll have two special guests, and so we'll have three voices to hear. We'll rip through all the stuff and see how long the show ends up. Will probably be that hour 30. Promised my wife I'd watch some TV tonight, and so of course I'll be late and have to watch a lot of TV to make up for the time missed here. But you are watching this, and we appreciate your time as well. On the screen here, just talking a little bit about it. Don't forget, what the theme of the show is, and the title tonight is nothing more than a great line reference. Chewie, great Chewie, always thinking with your stomach, and that's the title of the episode tonight. For no other reason than it's a great quote. We're also going to talk a little bit about Friday Night Fights. If you missed last week's episode or this week's episode, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that when I get into that topic. But we will have another new player out this week, a new player to Legion, and like I told you, we have new players in our area. We have another new player moving from the West Coast in July, so we're going to get him on stream. We're building a little momentum here, so building some popularity, hopefully out in the regions of the internet, but here locally as well, which is super fantastic. And then last but not least, we'll talk about the league. Season 2, round 5 is ongoing, and our special guests tonight actually have played each other, so they can specifically talk about their league game. I have played one against one of the special guests' friends, and so we'll talk about that, and maybe we'll get his live reaction. What happened behind the scenes after that game was played, and hopefully their counseling sessions are going well after that, because it was a bit of a beatdown. And I won't tell you who beat who, but we'll get into that in a little bit. So without further ado, let's get our folks on screen. So gentlemen, button up your shirts, put your pants back on, because I'm going to have you on screen here in a second. So here we go. Welcome.
Morning.
Jake's just confusing us. It's actually evening where he is, but it's fine.
Yeah. It's 9:00, but I confuse everybody with morning.
Yeah, excellent. And Nick's probably near midnight, not quite, but he's about 10. You're probably about 20 after 10.
And you're just a little early from that.
So Nick is actually from my original neck of the woods. He's in Nova Scotia, so he's not quite a mainlander, but connected via some land. So we'll technically classify him as a mainlander, but fellow East Coaster, both league participants, both Friday Night Fight viewers. Jake's certainly been on here before, but first time casting for Nick in terms of coming on to co-host the show. So thank you for giving up your time.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, perfect. first time caster, long time listener. Is the appropriate response. You'll also notice both these guys have the luxury of working on hobbies. My hobby is just going to be pushing a lot of buttons on here for the next hour and a bit. But without further ado, fellas, we'll probably do a Last Week in Legion all together. But if you guys are fine, do you want to rip through a couple of the intro pieces? Then we'll come back to Last Week in Legion. We'll hit Friday Night Fights. Then we'll get right into the news, and then get through all the drops, and then into call center.
Let's do it.
All right, perfect.
Yeah, let's do it.
Jake, can I just like shoulder tap you to do Jace's part here? You want to tell people where they can find us?
Jake, Jace. I mean, it's close enough.
It's fine. It's pretty close.
We're just one letter off. All right. So if you're looking to find us, we're on Star Wars Legion Friday Night Fights. Patreon is patreon.com/The Terrain Studio. Twitter is @Legion_FNF. And that's actually the same for Instagram as well. So @Legion_FNF.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, go check all those things. Nick's on the backside of the Patreon, so he can tell you, there's things going on there, little perks. On the topic of the perks, these are now ordered as mentioned. So the fan made card sleeves, cool little art for your preferred faction in Legion. They were, like I said, ordered about a week ago. So they're a little bit slower. Not that they're slow. It's just the production takes a little bit of time, and they aren't overseas, but quality should be good. So if you were a patron, signed up through April, and you're still there in May, you guys know who you are. You'll be getting a set. If you haven't, and you're in there and you haven't told me what faction you want, make sure you guys do that. As mentioned last week, and then maybe on Friday Night Fights, I mentioned this. We will be having extra sets, and we'll be just doing straight giveaways. So if you're not a patron, you're not supporting the show, that's cool. You're supporting by being here. We're going to be giving some sets away, and we always, gift our players who come in studio. So they give up their time. We like to give them little perks and bonuses along the way. So these will be going out. Nick, what faction did you pick for your preferred choice?
I actually have to message you about that, but I'm going to be going with the Empire one.
So a message not only to the patrons out there, but the patrons out there.
Exactly. Yeah. I'll probably be going. I'm trying to decide between the Empire and the Shadow Collective, actually.
Okay, well, you know what? Maybe you got an inside track, and if you do well tonight, who knows? I might know a guy who knows a guy, and you could possibly end up with a couple sets. So who knows? So
awesome.
Yeah,
thank you.
For sure. But like I said, you guys, as soon as they come in, we won't be giving away anything just yet because I want to have them in hand. But when we do the Friday Night Fights, we'll have them there. We'll do giveaways for episodes to come. We always like to do that, and we'll keep some for the Christmas special, of course. But stay tuned if you guys want to know how to just get some free stuff. So we like doing free stuff. So I am gonna just briefly mention Friday Night Fights. I won't get into the recap just yet, but if you guys are not familiar with this. I actually was telling a player about the show yesterday at 8:30, typically CST on most Fridays, right here on this channel. So if you found this one, you can find us for the show as well. Come join us. Live game. It's a live game of Live Legion. So I had to clarify. Somebody was asking, is it a live game cast of TTS? No. Well, that's cool. That's just not what we do. We play Live Legion. We roll some digital dice in the sense that it is that aspect, and you guys know why, just so you guys can see it, follow along at home. But the live action's where it's at, and the live chat is always fun. And there's lots of people in chat tonight, so they can give a shout out if they plan to attend or have attended. So one more plug here real quick, and then we'll do a few later. But if you are on the Patreon or want to check out about the Patreon, I put this photo up on the terrain page for Legion. Now, if you're watching this, I'm going to give away my secret, but I posted this on there. And there's, 250 reactions to the photo at this point. Mostly seem all positive. Talking about how much work and so excited and blah, blah, blah. So, but I put it on the Legion page because, one, I own that page, and two, it's related. So, it doesn't matter what biome I'm building or what game I'm making it for. It translates. However, right underneath the orange banner there and right at the very top, there's hobbit holes. Very clear on the photo. Now, one person out of the 200 reactions there has pointed out that this is the Lord of the Rings project. and many people have speculated what other Star Wars planet this is. So I just let people go crazy and run with that because that was part of the fun. But because you're here, this is not for Legion. While we probably could play Legion on it, this is definitely going to be a Shire project. And one person acutely pointed out, it looks like Hobbiton, and they were exactly right. And I like that. Now, it slightly scares me that more people didn't know that it was Hobbiton, but in fairness, it's all pink, and so it's not translating out, and I did put it on a Star Wars page. So we'll see, and as we go, hopefully people will clue in. But if you want to follow the project, I'm actually going to upload the video later tonight. Just a little update. It's been a ton of work to get to this stage. This has probably the most foam I've ever used in a project ever. And just about done shaping the landscapes, and then pretty soon it's getting covered to sculpt the mold. So I cannot wait to get rid of the pink because I'm really tired of looking at it at this point. So, which is where most projects hit. I get tired of looking at it, then I hit it with another color, and eventually it'll all be green and it'll look cool. So if you want to know more about that, it's on the Patreon as well. You guys can check that out. All right, gentlemen, jumping back to the screen here. Obligatory cough. Let's talk about our last week in Legion. Now, you guys played a game, so I'll give you the option. Do you want to talk about the game now, or do you want to leave that for roundtable? Call center.
We'll
Sorry.
rip the Band-Aid off now. We'll
Yeah.
rip the Band-Aid off now.
Okay.
Okay. So you want me to go first there, Jake, or would you like to?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so we played each other there. I believe we played key positions, advanced positions, and then hostile environment. We both played Shadow Collective, and Jake is playing a double bus, double Black Suns,
Double Black Sun, triple swoop.
and triple swoops. Yes, kind of the suppression bomb list. And my friend Anthony, OS Dad, has played Shawn here with the suppression bomb list before, and I've heard his woes. So I kind of knew I needed to hit the buses first to get rid of that raiding party leader, and then kind of focus on the swoops and try to pick stuff off as they come in. I'm playing a Gar Saxon double super commando list with some pikes and a bus and a Black Sun of my own. And basically, was it turn one, Jake? I had the
it was turn
one
one.
demoralized bus.
Yeah, I lost that to the three Mandos with their stupid rockets. Yeah, it was that and was it Gar Saxon that took it out, or was it?
Yeah, he
Pike?
moved and hit it with his rockets.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good game, back and forth. Near the end, though, I kind of was rolling some Shawn saves. I did pretty good on some saves that were pretty big, and it ended up being
middle game. Your Black Suns took.
Oh yes, the Black Suns
5 shots.
Yeah, I think
and
so.
I could
something
not
like
kill
that.
them.
Yeah, they stood tall.
Your pikes refused to die. They were rolling at
the pikes, yeah,
like a 75% rate.
Yeah, they were. Gar Saxon, I think he took what, one shot and died.
2 shots. Two
shots and died. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was pretty harsh.
He took 1 shot from a pike unit, and 1 shot from a Black Sun unit, I think.
Yeah. But no, it was a good game. A little bit of back and forth.
It was.
The swoops was my first time playing against swoops, and I was really concerned. But once they got in, they were doing damage. If it wasn't for my good white saves that night, it would have been a lot bigger of a deal. But I kind of tried to make a plan and stick to it, and it worked out for me this time. That's basically it.
Yeah, it was it was key positions, danger close.
Oh, danger close, sorry.
And hostile.
Yes.
And
hostile did come into effect a couple times with the overrun and getting shot by the swoops. That made a difference.
I think
well,
War
not
Weary.
the overrun. It was the what?
I was just going to say War Weary
Weary?
and Hostile Environment are both really good conditions for that list to force on your opponent. And one of the reasons that I think you want to take both of those in there is because you can potentially force out your opponent to have to use cancels in the conditions slot, which then allows you to maybe to dictate a little bit more the both deployment and or objective. So I like bringing those in there with that particular list because I find typically conditions are where people kind of just allow it to sort of happen, and only if something comes up do they really have to force away from that. But if you put two really good ones in there and you're good with everything in your deck and you get to play your deck, sometimes you can just cancel a condition to force them into those two, and then maybe they have to use both their cancels in there as well. So
one thing
I'm
with my
running
list
800
is
even. So
yeah, my capo, I have lead by example on it for a little bit of suppression mitigation, and
right.
typically Mandos can kind of get where they need to most of the time. So they can usually touch terrain, and so they're a little bit more maneuverable. So kind of the capo supports, if need be, the Black Sun and the Pikes, and so so far it hasn't been too bad.
Right.
So, yeah,
I'll give you
I'm
a
trying to
brief.
play
Go
something
ahead.
different.
Well, that's
I'm just going
good.
to try and play Shadow Collective for the rest of the year, I think.
Okay, nice. I like it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you about two games, and then I'll do the Friday night fight one after that. I got a few visuals for that, but I also just ran into triple Mandalorians. Mandalorian in the form of Sabine, Mandalorian in the form of the Resistance, Mandalorian in the form of the full squad, and we played a bombing run, and I was playing my worlds list, but I played on I'm not sure if you guys know that really old school Endor table from Yavin, which has zero buildings on it, and it's just like wide open. It has two bunkers in basically the corners, and like a bridge in the middle, but the bridge is like one of those flat bridges. Long story short of that game, basically it was battle lines, and I played triple. It was a triple FDs backing up that as well. It was just nothing but marching across the table. I had not even a heavy cover on my side, like walking across the table. There's no heavy cover until I reached my opponent, which was fine. Like he just wanted to play that list and try it out. I was like, well, a wide open table with zero buildings and 3 FD cannons, you're gonna have a great time, which he did. But and I was like, this will be an attrition test for me. So he was able to score the two bombs, and I was able to score 3 bombs, and I was able to score only 2. I had one like basically out of my deployment zone, but not shoved in. But in the last shot of the game, he was able to kill a Magna Guard. But had he not killed that, I was actually up on MOV in that game. He out activated me. I think it was 10 to 9. I lost both spiders on the first turn of the game, because there was no cover. 3 FDs, and I ate 2 full rockets basically into the. I didn't make a single save on the spider, and of course with the impact, the armor really didn't trigger, right? Because those impact rockets are great. They just pump over the armor 3. So with no spiders though, basically 7 acts to 10. I lasted the rest of the game and killed a whack ton of stuff. However, the real downside is I put a full B2 shot from range 2 and 2 full Magna swings, 6 black, 2 red, into a Mandalorian squad, and still didn't kill it. Four Mandos. Just the red Mando saves were insane. Kalani opened up with 4 into them. They went 4 for 4 on saves. Just this one Mando squad was just unreal.
He took all my Sabine saves.
Yeah, totally. So the point of bringing that story up was like, just dice be dice sometimes, right? Like it just doesn't matter. Sometimes the red can proc. Last night my whites were just on fire. I was saving like 2 for 2 on spiders. I think I did that 3 out of 4 shots, taking 2 damage from impact 2 weapons, and straight up saved 6 out of 8. And that's sometimes happened, but despite strategies. This one here, in fairness, me just getting basically raked from turn 1 deployment zone, basically, because we had battle lines and FD cannons can fire straight into the deployment zones. That was just that was crazy. I actually never shot any FDs except for once in one turn, and just never bothered to try to bring them down. So just because my range band doesn't play well at that, but basically killed everything else that was on the table minus Sabine. So that was a fun one. And then I played again last night, actually, against Cody. I'll talk a little just briefly about that, because we'll save more Cody conversations. But again, running the Worlds List, I'm running it in Yavin base, so I thought I'd get a couple more reps in with it. But played against a Cody Rex list. I actually was going to play Cody Rex last night, and I said to my opponent, because he's like, I want to test out a list. I was like, oh, cool, what are you playing? He's like, oh, Cody Rex, triple barks. I was like, all right, well, I will not play Cody Rex Saber, because I figured that would just be boring. But trying to break the barks on my list is the exact same reason why it's good against Blizzard Force. They just melted. I had all 3 barks killed basically by the tail end of turn 3. And on VAPs, and I didn't really need to move out of my zone at all. I stepped up to my VAPs. I never went any further than that, except for my Magna Guard shot out a little bit. But was really harsh. I put 3 wounds on Rex early, 2 wounds on Cody thereafter. Then I got Cody down to 1, and then Rex down to 1. So I was in on the key players pretty quick in that game, and Spiders actually did the work as they do. He had a lot of impact, like the barks coming in. He had RPSs on all 3 barks, so he had potential there to be doing damage, but saves prevailed. So yeah.
I ran my actual Yavin base list, ladies night. With Jin, Sabine, and
It's
Ahsoka.
2.0 ladies night. Let's just be clear. We don't want to
2.0.
infringe on Ben's,
this is, I love the concept that he's had. And I wanted to run Jin or Sabine and Ahsoka together, and landed on Jin having as the commander. But I played against a double dark Boba IRG list, and Sabine died to Boba Fett, failing 5 out of 6 shots between 2 stormtroopers and Boba.
Yep.
She only saved 1, and that was against the last stormtrooper unit that killed her, because I saved 1 out of 2. Or 1 out of 3 from Boba, and the Pierce still got through. Ahsoka is phenomenal. She one-shot Boba.
Nice.
She's been one-shotting IG-88, IG-11, Boba, a Magna Guard unit. Which that was dice being dice. But no, it's,
Like an Ahsoka.
I 7 games with her. Yeah, I got 7 games with her.
Nice.
I had Pally bring Gar Saxon to 1 wound. So he put 4 hits through heavy cover with a shield and I believe a dodge token. Put him to 1 wound off a B2 Ha.
B2 Ha shot.
That hurt. That hurt a lot.
that 10 dice pool is awesome.
Yeah. Not used to playing against them, so it was kind of a surprising kind of shot.
Yeah, I got 3 in my list. That list that I brought to Worlds and the one for Yavin. It's 3 of those back to back is fun.
Yeah.
Yep. And the cycle aspect
Almost
of that
as bad
versus
as, almost as bad as whatchamacallit, Dark Troopers.
Yeah, but the Dark Troopers are back to back in the same turn with Palp. That's the problem.
I know that's the problem.
And that's
we can get into that later.
That's one unit. Yeah, we'll lean into that heavy later. So we'll let Anthony make sure he finds a seat before we get into that one. So I'll save that one for roundtable when we get down there. So All right, before we get into the topics for tonight, let me just quickly jump and do a little rundown here of the FNF. So again, if you guys want to check it out, it's at 8:30 CST on Friday nights. This week, I actually played as well, so just all me for all Legion this week. So, and I played against Dustin Blaine coming back in for his second time here. So, came in once against Jace. If you guys want to check that game, I think it's 85, that one. And then, played against me this week, and I was running for the first time a Cody Rex Saber Tank. It's pretty fun. Not really used to playing clones, playing against them lots, but operating them's a total different thing. But just before we get into that, we'll thank all the people that help us make it happen, donators, patrons. Aaron Gallagher coming in previous week with a big $200 donations. Thank you very much, Aaron, for that. And Bernard, slow and steady. Bernard, always not slow, but definitely steady and helps us out a lot. We are creeping 66%, not order 66, but 66% the way there on the PTZ. So looking forward to that. Hopefully we can hit there before for the Christmas special. So not to give it all away in case you didn't watch it, but Jace actually casted. The lists are up there. We played on a different snow table. Actually, we set it up a little bit different. I set it up a little bit different than we've seen there. So I wanted to point this out, and Anthony didn't know that, but here's Anthony on screen on the Friday Night Fight saying, "Ask Shawn if he wants to buy any good used red dice. My streak continues." Anthony always complaining about dice. Earlier in the cast, not sure if you caught this, Shawn's dice. I think there's a market to this Anthony guy. At some point, Nick, I'm going to consider this borderline harassment. So if you want to pay Anthony a little visit, Anthony, some guys are coming. So watch out.
Let's say Anthony's luck has not turned. Let's put it that way.
Oh, it's so unfortunate.
Sadly.
Yeah, we like our fans, but we also like to harass our fans. So it's kind of a little bit of a love-hate relationship for sure. But
I think he's still in the low double digits with for 50 or so for red dice.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, that's not very good.
That's not good. That's not good. Just switch over to white, because then the percentage comes way up. When you roll one, it's like, hey, I gotta save.
Oh yeah.
You feel good about it. But no, the list I played was Cody Rex, a bunch of phase ones with an R2 and a mean saber, and I actually faced double spiders. I was talking to Dustin at the end of the game, and I said that what I might do is just take his list in a future Friday Night Fight, and I might just run his list just to kind of show him how I might approach running that list. He ran the snail tank, which was fun to see on screen, which is great. And shout out to the new players for bringing more painted units than the old hats here in studio. So, Anthony, Jace, up your games because it's getting embarrassing. But yeah, it was a super, super fun. So, and our new player today for next week is also really worried about, getting everything painted. I was like, it's okay if you don't, but they seem to be really, really wanting to bring painted units, which is great. So, makes it super better on the visuals for you guys. So check it out, episode 86. It is all there. All right, fellas, I want to hit the news and get through some stuff here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So the news from the streets. Excuse me. This is reported by Pally, not really, but we always say it is just to keep him in the loop. But he's continued to be plotting evil lists with Commander Cody and Rex. But then I was going to use that one, but you know what? I've actually updated this, and I'm going to replace that news segment drop with this one. And this one reads, confirmed to be whelmed by Commander Cody, but not Rex. Because I think he falls into the category of whelmed. So just for you, Pally, drop that on there tonight. But not to start off with Legion topic. And I know I said I wasn't going to do Shatterpoint. This is not a Shatterpoint podcast. Ryan, if you find this later, the answer is no. It's not a Shatterpoint podcast. However, fine with Shatterpoint, just not my thing. However, that being said, what do you guys think about this diorama that they're going to drop? Because I think this is amazing.
Yeah, I like it. It's everything that I would want in a non-special release type product.
Yeah.
I can't do the cost, but that's just...
And I don't even know the cost. Because, I mean, the last thing I look at, Jake, is price tags. Just to say, because the second you start looking at price tags, then I have that knowledge, and then to say, like, if my wife were to say, how much was that? I can't lie. But if I don't know
plausible
the price,
deniability, I think is what
I
that
can
is.
say I truthfully do not know. So
I really like it. I love what they did with it. I would love for them to um, come out with stuff even for Legion with this stuff. But I love the diorama concept.
I just think this is a cool, like, sit on my desk piece. And then when somebody comes in to pick up 2 figs and move them around and like, this is a piece right here, and I'll tell you, it's supposed to be played with because they wouldn't be based miniatures that you can remove if it wasn't. So love it. Yep.
Yeah, I would love.
This might
for
be
more
a good
stuff.
way to sell some like alternate sculpts too. Maybe you might get people buying some of these little, dioramas if you can use them.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think the Shatterpoint, what I saw when I was looking at Shatterpoint releases, because by the way, if you go to the Twitter for AMG, there is a lot of Shatterpoint for sure. Rightly so. It's just getting launched, so no fault there for definitely trumpeting the game. But what I'm seeing is you see the Inquisitors, so we know we're getting Inquisitors as well. So part of seeing these releases in 2 sort of games just, I think, gives us a little bit of foreshadowing. It's like, okay, cool. This is roughly maybe what the sculpts are going to look like. I love the quality that they've done here. And I think it's probably smart to not co-release them. Drop Inquisitors in Shatterpoint first, and I don't know, whatever, Ewoks in Legion, and then later on maybe Shatterpoint gets Ewoks, and we know we're getting Inquisitors. So I kind of like that approach where everybody's not getting like, everybody's getting Inquisitors and everyone's getting, Obi and all the things. So I kind of like the offset production that they got going on. And who knows if that's, going to maintain or if that's even intentional. That's just me reading into it. But I think it's an okay move. I'm all right with that. So, Nick, you mentioned earlier
about
as
they do that.
Yeah,
as long as they do that.
Fair. I also don't want to see Shatterpoint get something that we don't get in Legion. So, because
Jango Fett.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Do you really think that Legion's not getting them?
Oh, eventually,
Yes.
I think they will.
Yeah,
I think what they'll do, honestly, is they'll keep certain heroes for Shatterpoint, and they'll keep certain heroes for Legion. And then you have, if you want this hero, you got to buy this game, and if you want this hero, you'll buy this game.
Well, fair, but that will not entice me for sure. However,
I hope they don't.
This piece right here, I don't think I need to play Shatterpoint to think it's cool, and I don't think I need to play Shatterpoint to pick up a little Dio piece.
No. It looks like a
that
nice
would be
piece.
great. I mean, yeah, and I think you could somehow get it to fit for a Legion piece of terrain.
Yeah, if you wanted to. I mean, it's.
But I mean, that's if you wanted it as an additional.
I think it probably won't take long before somebody pulls this off in Legion, just like the 3D printers of the world out there, and just make a piece that's similar for Legion, and then but Legion guys don't stop. Fair enough. They just extend that off, right? Like, the landscape looks really cool. The rock structure is awesome. The whole topography of this and just doing a table up like that would be inspiring. So I think Dio pieces are supposed to be inspirational, and this one's really cool, and I think it's got lots going on. Looks awesome.
And I really like the Vader model with
totally
like that piece of what was it, ship or whatever that he has that he looks like he's getting ready to chuck.
Yep. For sure. Why won't this ship die? It's very, very cool. And I think some of the sculpts are I like some of the Shatterpoint sculpts better than the Legion sculpts, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah. I do too.
Maybe they got a little bit more real estate to work with, and maybe some of the the physicality of making a model that's larger. You can maybe do some more things, support wise, and obviously can only be so spindly with a smaller scale model, but I don't think I don't think that I'm going to be found too wanting with what's in Shatterpoint in Legion. I just might have to wait longer. And likewise, if you're a Shatterpoint fan and you're not a Legion player, because there may be some of those folks who just come in for Shatterpoint for the first time. If you want to play, if you want to get the stuff we got, you got to come play some Legion. So I think it's a little bit of a give and take. So, all right. Well, enough about that. Anthony says the new Legion sculpt's really good, though. I do agree for the most part. There's some spindly bits, but maybe there's some room for. I'm not really sure. I love the Dark Trooper tall models, and I've only heard people complain about physically playing with them. But you know what? You can model them in a different way. You just got to get creative. So, all right. Well, let's talk about Legion for the rest of the time. Enough about Shatterpoint.
Yeah.
We have Legion releases. So also on the Atomic Mass Games Twitter feed, they are talking a little bit about some small guys, some Ewoks, some low grade and wicked, and not so small guy in the ATST Walker, re-releasing the kit, and I guess releasing this will be the new kit going forward. So the old one won't be available. We'll get into all of these in the subsequent screens here, but just a little foreshadowing. If you had to choose, Jake, which of these releases is most appealing to you?
The ATST.
Okay, fair. And don't tell 100%. Us why.
100%.
Don't tell us why until we get there.
Oh,
Nick,
I will in a little bit.
yeah, for sure. Nick, what about you?
I have 2 ATSTs already, so I don't think I can take a third.
Mm-hmm.
So, the little murder bears is pretty cool.
I mean, I've bought 4, so I mean, who's counting? But I don't know how much they cost, so they could have been free. I'm not sure.
I don't have any, so that's
okay. Well, fair. So when we get into it, that's a really good point. That depending on where you entered Legion, maybe you just never bought an ATST, or maybe they're not available to you. But I think you're going to get a better ATST than we got before. Yeah, very, very nice.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Very nice.
I got to do some rebel arms sticking out of the rubble, but yeah.
I like Francisco's come in here twice now, so I'll put this up here. Again, just take all my money. So another guy who doesn't look at price tags. Yeah, another guy who doesn't look at price tags.
My wife controls my bank account, so.
See, my wife has one bank account and gets 2 paychecks. I always joke with her. I say, you make more than the director of education. You get 2 salaries.
Yes.
But I have one bank account that's AKA the Patreon that becomes hobby cash. So if you want to continue seeing me get models and do things, not the only thing it's used for, I also give back. But no, that's the one that I use for that. So I always tell my wife I work extra hard if I want to get things, because the harder I work on this end, the more toys I get. So So did you answer the question, Nick? Did you tell us what you're excited for?
Yeah, I'm going to go for the murder bears.
Okay,
yeah,
nice.
Hey, I've played a lot of Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront 2, and love the Ewok hunt. It's a great game. And they look really, I like the tactical rocks. Their models look pretty cool. And just something different. They look fun.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll get into both of those upcoming. Jake, you want to talk a little bit about this business here? Lots of cool stuff. If you're into swag, it's not my big thing. I like to give it out, but I'm not. I don't get overly excited about all this, but other people in the world do.
And I'm one that really likes alt art cards, whether they're fan made or not. I have some from Cammy's print shop. Of alternate cards. I enjoy them myself, and these cards look phenomenal. It's how we got our our spoiler of Ewoks.
Yep.
I'm trying to find their but anyways, this is the world open qualifiers, so it is not the store kits. This is the ones for like Gen Con.
I'll be going to Gen Con.
Gen Con, ACO, LVO, Nova Open, PAX, stuff like the major tournaments throughout the year. That this stuff is going to be given away in some capacity with the world invites.
Okay. And anything
Cool.
there particularly exciting for you?
Oh, I love the Anakin art. I really enjoy all these cards. The standing or even the standing orders. I would love to see what other cards are in there. But
How many
unfortunately,
Bothans? How many
I don't
Bothans were killed to make the standing orders card? Is kind of what I'm wondering.
Many of them have died.
I wish I could go to some of these tournaments.
Yeah.
I don't. I might be able to go to Adepticon next year, but that's the only one that I could potentially be at.
I'll tell you what, Jake. I'll bring you back something nice from Gen Con because I don't have a particular hankering to hang on some alt art. So if there's one of particular interest or one or two or things you're looking for, I'll bring you back something nice. So
no, I'd appreciate that. But yeah, all of these. I think those are even new suppression tokens, the black and purple.
Yeah, I kind of wonder. Some people were talking about whether they would be like different, if they had a different effect. They might just be different. Like that might just be the new.
No, they're just different.
Yeah, just whatever. I mean, I'm actually kind of cool. I think the color scheme's kind of neat. So
yeah, I mean it's additional swag. They look like they're cardboard, and it looks like it's for first or second place. I can't fully.
It looks like it's second.
Corner.
It's second place on there. So
yeah. So the second place person that comes, or the person that comes in second at like Gen Con would get that sheet.
Yeah, it's a little foreshadowing though because they have so many 3 suppression tokens. We usually never seen them in that ratio. It looks like it's like an even number of singles. So maybe foreshadowing. Maybe New Legion has just way more suppression, which would be fine by me.
Well,
so
if it's anything like my Anakins or anything, they're suppressed.
Right. Yep. I do like these alt arts in terms of the format. It's pretty clean. The information's kind of readable, but they've really sort of capitalized on the real estate for the art, which is cool. So
yeah,
I kind of like that.
I do find it weird that the upgrades for those 5 heroes or whatever aren't displayed on the card.
Right. It could be a backside thing
on the front.
Yeah,
I'm assuming it would be the back.
And I mean, truthfully,
but like Long Grey or Wicket.
But I mean, truthfully, maybe the concept of like the card and bringing the upgrades. Once the upgrades are brought, I mean, really, what reference is that? That's really more in the building of the unit.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's in the building. So, I mean, it doesn't bother me. It might mess somebody up. That's newer. That's
right.
But
we just recently did a Anthony AStrangeEvent and I did a learn to play there. We had 6 people, and we kind of just told them just ignore what's on the card, like the points, any of the upgrades, just ignore it. So I do think that these look very clean and nice, and especially if you are using Tabletop Admiral or Legion HQ for your list building, like that is there. But I do agree with you, Jake. It could confuse someone who's new, but yeah, it's kind of complicated.
In fairness,
I can see it both ways.
In fairness, several of the cards that are out right now just confuse people anyways, because as you said, this is wrong, that's wrong, this is no longer valid. You know,
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I don't mean that in like a derogatory way. I just mean that there's several cards that are out that you can buy off the shelf still that have a change or aren't accurate. So, the information.
Yeah, I still have some Fantasy Flight scouts with the different low profile, and I'm like, well, that's not right.
On that topic, while we're looking at that, are the points are not on there either? Is that correct?
I don't think so.
Yeah, if I'm taking a hard look at that, there's no actual points.
was able to find.
They're trying to move towards. They've said they're trying to move towards more of the online responsiveness for
Yep.
their errata. So if that's the way they're going, this makes sense.
Yeah, I don't actually see the.
Yeah, it makes sense. No,
and I'm
it's
okay.
not. The points aren't on there.
Cool.
Just their main keywords, their weapon, their unit designation, their rank, faction.
Yep. I'm okay with that, to be perfectly honest. Yeah. Yep, I'd be okay with no points.
They look clean. They look nice.
Right.
Nice.
Cool. All right. Well, let's crack in. We got 3 to get into, and then we're going to talk a little bit of Cody, and then get into the round table here. So let's go to Murder Bears, as they've been properly labeled here tonight. So so what I did on here is I just grabbed out all the cool models and scattered them all over, because I figured that's basically what's going to happen on the tabletop. There's literally going to be Ewoks everywhere. Question for you guys. And while I was going through, and I guess it's not as evident here, but when we get into the other boxes, I noticed that they've done something specific with the boxes, and that's actually include the card image on the box, which again, we can get into the ATST and see what you guys think about that. I actually really like that move, personally. And so that, and it's a very small, subtle thing, but I like that a lot, because again, somebody picking this up for the first time might not necessarily associate that, okay, I get models in there, but do I get cards? There's content listed on the back, but if you're a new person, like, this is what the cards do. Oh, they're cool. They're stats and all these things. And I think it's just a really nice way to tell people more about what's in the box when you pick it up, without having to either read text or know or have knowledge of the game already. So, but here we have the Ewok Skirmishers. Now, lots of people have already talked about these guys. I want to get your guys' take on them. So we see Spear, but it looks like it's just a melee weapon. We do see that they come with a few slots, and the upgrades are shown on there, and I'm okay with that imagery as well. In fact, this actually draws more attention to the upgrade slots that they have versus the old cards, and that's not a bad one too. I don't know how they would fit like a Gar Saxon in there. You'd have like 2-3 rows of upgrades. He's got like a gazillion, but that might be something where they either do smaller icons or do just double up the rows, which is fine. The points are appropriately displayed, and if I just jump back real quick, just to contrast with these ones versus these ones. So again, very similar format, but missing the icons and missing the point slot. So again, I don't know if this is the route they're going to go for unit cards, and the other route might be the way they go for alt arts, or if this is an entirely new format, or if this is just, again, an alt art, and they've chose to include the points and the upgrades. Not sure. I don't know if I have a particular preference.
I'm pretty sure this is just an alt art.
Alt art.
Because we have Wicket's regular command card.
We do.
We've seen his unit card, and then there's also a Wicket alt art.
Yep, there's the alt art there for Wicket, and there's this. Yeah. So the point being is that it seems like they have this alt art version, the alt art full art version here with no points, no upgrades, and then the stock standard Legion cards that we're used to. So back to your...
So those... I was going to say, those character alt arts, that those 5, the Leia, Palpatine, Dooku, and that is for the top 8 of the faction.
Right. So to the point of to the point of confusion, is if we have so many versions of cards and they start to get out there, I think that... I will tell you right now, in early Legion, early years of Legion, there are still alt arts. And when you had an alt art card of some, I've often had people be like, oh, what card is that? Or they would be confused by seeing something different. Now, I think people are fine and more used to alt arts. But for me, I don't really reference the cards that much. I reference the builders, as Nick alluded to. Maybe potentially there is a world where having so many different versions might also lead to some confusion down the road. But I think if you're transparent and point out all the things with your opponent across the table, they'll either read your card or register it as such. But a few different formats might lead to some confusion down the road, but likely not anything significant. So But let's have a look. I'm going to go back to the where are we at here? Not this one. Not that one either. Hey, what happened to my screen here? Sorry, fellas. I think one of my screens just disappeared on us.
Oh, yeah.
Because this is just that's just Wicket on your screen, right?
Wicket.
Yeah, Wicket.
Where'd my murder bears go? All right, I'm going to throw that. I'm just going to throw that over there, and then I'm going to turn this one off, and we'll deal with that. And then Nick, I'll slide you down here. There we go.
No problem.
So yeah, getting back to these guys. So they have a spear as a melee weapon. 6 in the unit. They are core, obviously. 40 points, speed 2, no surge up or down. 1 health, 1 courage, white defense dice. What do you think about this with no range profile?
I want to see what their heavy is.
Yeah, I believe they have a trapper. Do they not?
Yeah, I think, and maybe the trappers come two trappers, maybe. Like maybe is it 2 models? Because I'm looking at this right here. You're gonna have 6 in the unit, and so we see 6 models, but there's 2 more, and so 1 maybe is a personnel, which is just an extra, and maybe it's a trapper single model, but I don't know if it's.
They do have. They have the personnel slot.
Oh yeah, I guess it'd be single. Maybe it's not 2 then. But I mean, I'm looking at this. I see a sling, and then I see a guy throwing a spear, which to me would imply maybe a range. But
it does come with 2 unit cards.
It does, yep. So probably 2 profiles.
More likely a range. Probably a range sling
bow
unit.
Yep. Let me ask you this.
What do you think about
that potential idea of having a unit where it's like, you know what, they are, and maybe the other unit has no melee profile. These are ranged. These are melee.
I think it's interesting.
We haven't seen that.
See, with the spears, you're going to want to get in. And so have they announced what the personnel upgrade is?
No, we probably won't hear that until mid-June, like June 20th-ish.
Okay. I wouldn't be surprised if something with maybe a hero Ewok there that would give them maybe some more movement. Maybe you're going to have to correct me there. It'd be expert climber that you don't reduce your speed on a climb action, is it? Or is it scale? Scale's the height, I believe.
Well, you still reduce your speed.
Yeah, everyone's just a speed 1.
Okay.
Scale gives you height. You can go height 2, speed 1.
Height 2.
Yeah.
Maybe an upgrade that gives you scale.
Expert climb.
Yeah. Something there that can help you kind of get in, climb up over buildings, kind of get in quicker. Maybe, double move to get yourself down, up over a building and down and be more cagey. Be an interesting way to play, I think so.
I mean, they already have unhindered, which is cool. So, they're not basically reducing speed on the table. The funny thing is like, if you think about it in theory, Ewoks seem quite fast because they're a small individual, but their base size is the same as everybody else, right? So they're actually technically going to be faster than anyone without unhindered, even though they're way shorter legged. And in the movie, they didn't seem that swift of foot. But on the tabletop, I think if you're running them, they're going to be scary if you're running 5-6 units of these at you. Because if they get there, and let's just assume that the heavy is at least equivalent in profile to the spear at 1 black, chances are it's higher. And then your extra one, let's just say it's an extra Ewok at another one. These guys hitting with 8 black, 4 or 5 units of them in melee, it's going to be pretty scary.
I mean, just Wicket, 5 Ewok skirmishers with no heavy, you're looking at 270 at 6X right now.
That's a very, very low amount.
Yeah.
Now, theory crafting here, just spitballing because we don't know, is the Ewok 6 core going to be broken? Is the mold going to be broken on these? Are we going to see another CIS battle force with potentially an 8 core?
They don't surge to anything. They're
Nope.
white dice. Everything's heavy cover in Legion now, so low profile. Yeah, critical is abound because of the anti-armor meta.
Mm-hmm.
So you do have some help there. You have lots of characters now that surge to crit. So there are ways to get through that. Honestly, I think it's going to be kind of a mud ball. Just throw minis at you. You're going to have to deal with them. And I mean, if you have, like, say, the ATST, just throw 4 units right in behind the ATST, double move right up into your face, and say you're going to shoot the ATST, or you're going to try to move out and shoot at the Ewoks. So, like, force people to make decisions, kind of thing.
Yes.
I don't think it's going to break the 6.
Okay.
I don't think we'll go up to 8 because I think they've mentioned having commandos in there.
Yeah. Yeah, they did say commandos.
So I'm assuming that there's going to be a requirement there to take at least.
And I think they said no strike teams as well, did they not?
I believe so.
Yeah.
But I mean, we can quote them on it, but we can't quote them on it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, Wicket, 6 Ewok skirmishers, 2 Rebel commandos. You're still at 466 at 9 acts.
You got
don't forget about Princess Leia.
Well, if you had Leia
with that new Wicket command card coming.
Yep, do that. You gotta have C-3PO in there too.
Yeah, he's not on the Tabletop Admiral yet.
No, we don't know what he's going to cost yet. Here's a question for you before we move on to Wicket and Logray. Just going back to that thought about no range profile. If you look at the card, what range weapon there is shown in multiple Ewoks that is not represented on the models?
Yeah, bows.
There's no bows. Not one model with a bow that I can see. So that's either like an upcoming unit, or that's got to be something that can be added to the squad. Like I gotta feel like if you're gonna capture it in the art, if it's going to be part of their sort of armament, that's got to be represented somehow. So I'm holding out hope here that there's bows, and that would be really, really cool.
Maybe because there's 5 upgrade cards. Possibly the range ones could have like an armament slot for
correct
bows.
Right, yeah, exactly.
It just may not be in the model. It would
have been cool. I would have loved to have, like, with the representation that you have here, you got I see at least 3 spears, a couple slings, maybe having a bow or 2 would have been neat, or even slung on their back kind of thing. So, but who knows? That literally might be something that's coming down the pipe. Maybe there's multiple Ewok units. Like, it'd be cool if you had, like, up to 3 core options. They're all Ewoks, but they're all different profiles. Like, maybe you have a range one that's like slings and rocks, or slings and spears.
That's
and it's
like 1 to 2.
Yeah, exactly. And then you got bows, which will be kind of like
bows.
like a range 3, and then maybe they're
or
I don't know,
2 to 4.
maybe. Well, might be a bit long range for bows, but maybe they're good at, like, maybe they have a pierce or something like that, because they are finding the kinks in the armor kind of thing. But I think there's a bunch you can do with that. That's what makes me kind of excited about Ewoks. I will buy them. I probably won't be a player of Ewoks, but I think I might be, like clones, I might be a player of Ewoks on a skirmish size table, because I think that they would look cool, yes, and play fairly well on a small size board. It'll remains to be seen how well they are at covering a big table, being the fact that their profile seems a little soft. So,
Yeah, and we
Tom-
do have
You also
Tom's-
have
C3PO.
flyers. You have
Yep.
catapults. You have other
Tom-
stuff you can do with those too.
Tom's right there with you, right? Ewok gliders with bombs like
Yeah.
fluttercrafts,
Yeah.
absolutely. And he wants to say this out loud: Ewoks on speeder bikes. That's just funny.
Yes.
Yes. It's just a thing. Jake said so. So all right, well let's slide over and talk a little bit about and I'll throw this guy back up here. There we go. I think that's how it operated. I've made Nick disappear somehow, so I'm just going to slide him
Hey.
back up here.
There he is. He's back.
There we go.
Yeah.
So talking about more Ewoks, we have Wicket's profile here. And what do we think about the keywords on here now? Independent, dodge 1, low profile, nimble, relentless, scout 1, scouting party 2, sharpshooter 2, unhindered.
I love it.
It goes back to what I said about trying to get in quick.
Yeah, he can do it.
I mean, they're going to try and get in, and he helps with that. So, I mean, it's pretty good. Pretty good.
Like, so here, Jake, what I was kind of referencing, if you're going to have a spear with pierce, that maybe range pierce would be wicked, but check out this spear. 2 red and a black
Very
with pierce
pointy.
1 and sharpshooter 2. Make saves and then forget one of those saves because I'm going to pierce it. So, like, Wicked is doing damage for sure. Surge crit. Like, this guy is awesome. Tom will say it again.
Goodbye,
Better than
Darks.
Rex. Better than Rex. Yep. Wicked
Don't
was
let Pally hear
downplayed. Anthony with Wicked was downplayed on Return of the Jedi. Yeah, absolutely. Nobody knew this guy was just like a stone cold killer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's just so unassuming. Like, he doesn't have a cool staff like Logray here. He's just like this guy standing there with a spear, but it turns out the spear is basically a missile. I like it.
And you have 3 training slots.
Yeah,
Slap
it's
on
just-
tenacity on that guy.
Yep, just seems good. Yeah. Yeah. He's like,
I mean,
I'll-
his slings range 1 to 2. I mean, you throw up close and personal onto him as well.
we don't know what primitive does, right? We've never seen or heard anything
We
about
do
this
not.
keyword. Okay. Yeah, I'm wondering about that. So, it'd be interesting how that plays out. Crow Servo, wasn't he the one that hit himself with the sling? Yes, but it wasn't the spear. Thank goodness. So maybe what you do is maybe Jake's onto something here. You throw sling, primitive somehow can potentially damage you. I'm spitballing here. Then you trigger your own tenacity for the follow-up spear throw. I like it.
Yeah, it's slap on tenacity, offensive push.
Yep.
Since he has relentless.
Relentless and unhindered. This is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too bad
Very,
he doesn't
very
have
cool.
a 4 slot.
Shout out on the card art to Murder Bear reference there for you, Nick, as well.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
You know,
No.
I'm quite surprised that there was no Stormtrooper helmets modeled in all the sort of tactical wood and rocks that came on these guys, but you know people are doing it.
That's what the resin
buying
printer's for.
a Stormtrooper. I'll buy a Stormtrooper box just to put them on their spears.
Nice. Very, very nice. Yeah, definitely liking that. So we can't really say too much past this because we don't really have the Logray, profile here, but
well, we did get a command card preview.
Yeah, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Clip it one. Yeah, it's a beautiful friendship. It's a Princess Leia card that orders Wicket and Leia Organa, and it's a permanent card, and Wicket gains teamwork with Leia.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, there's some other stuff. A friendly rebel unit at range 1, and it blanks out from there.
Yeah, you gotta like the independent dodge one and then teamwork. So if you didn't order Wicket, little independent dodge, procking over onto Leia
Send
potentially.
one over to Leia.
Not bad with the nimble. The nimble low profile surge defense just makes white be like, it's probably just as good at red. It's probably just a 50-50 at this point. So really, really do like that one. So And then Scout 1
Yeah,
with
I
Scouting
mean,
Party 2 is cool. And then the ability to take, I think you can take recon intel, right? Falls into the
yeah,
training
like
slot.
Leia with vigilance and provides orders,
No,
portable
Oh, no,
scanner,
sorry, it's a gear. I think it's,
like
it's a gear.
yeah.
Wicket, tenacity, up close personal offensive push, Ewok skirmishers, 6 of them. And don't know about their heavy yet. Rebel Commandos, 2 of them with the snipers, duck and cover. That's
Mhm.
10 acts at 589.
Yeah, he's got, well, I mean, if you
That's
want
a
to take
lot
a
of
two,
points he
yeah, I
left.
mean, you can take a 211 point bid and just call it a day. You're fine. You're still out activating most people.
10
So,
acts.
Oh yeah, you
Yes.
slap on situational awareness, tenacity,
Yeah.
and
Hunter?
hunter. No, because it's no, it's while attacking. So yeah, slap
Yeah,
on
it's
hunter
just
on
while
that
attacking.
sucker.
Yeah. Free aim in
Yeah,
case you happen to miss on something. I mean, if you happen to miss on
just
3
run
red,
him
1 black.
into
Yeah.
4 dice.
Just hold
into
Vader
melee.
there with like 4 units of Ewoks. I mean,
Well, here's the
can't
one
chew through
thing.
them all.
Yeah, here's the one thing about large units, and I think 40 points from C3PO from the image I've seen. So okay.
Yeah, he's 40.
So again, now you're at 11 acts and still got a 170 point bid. So one of the things about 8-man units or even 6-man units is it's hard to hold single characters in melee, because sometimes the single characters also like to have you as the insulator for melee. So sometimes force users will haul in B1 units because they know that they can be insulated by the unit and then not based by anything more dangerous, like a Magna Guard or something like that. So I think that's something that you might find Ewoks get into the case of they are going to occupy a lot of real estate with that many models on the table. So something to certainly have for consideration if you are moving them around, or even placing them on the table. They might take a little bit more real estate than one might first imply.
Although, I mean, 6 units with a black die each. You have your personnel slot. Say that's full, and then you have a heavy. Say you have a half Ewok, half Wookiee Ewok that has a big stone axe. You
Yep.
know, maybe 2 extra dice. You're getting pretty mean even on like against a Jedi.
You certainly are, for sure. So they might not want to sit in with you, but that just might be Shawn just commenting about primitive. That's just a consideration to say, right? So if you're running like a naked Ewok unit, maybe you're a great insulator. If you're running something that's got a heavy extra personnel slot and you're hitting a little bit harder, well, then that's consideration for your opponent on the other end. So
Yeah.
And the moment you can kind of you whittle one down and you leave an opening, throw in another unit in, you only need to base that one model to lend all those dice as well. So there's more considerations there for sure. So yeah, I think they'll be fun. I think people will play Ewoks. I think they're going to be one of those things that maybe aren't going to be the strongest. We don't never necessarily know, but I think they'll be one of the things that people will just enjoy building, getting, playing. And they kind of have that, I remember Ewoks when I watched the shows for the first time. I like the Ewoks. It's so cool. They're now in the game, and, I got an opportunity to get them on the table. So yeah.
It's very easy to get caught in all the meta and like this is what you should play to win, and just gotta remember it is a game.
Yep.
And you have fun. It's the goal.
For sure.
Yeah.
Drawing a little attention to the backside of the box here, and we'll see it again on the next one there. But you can see they give you the card spread there, right, on the back of the box, and I do like that as an additional element there. So you just pick it up. It just makes the back of the box look a little bit more attractive. It gives you a little bit of a color splash, and if you aren't listening to a podcast when you're walking through the store and you don't know and you don't have Legion HQ up on your phone kind of thing. Now I can flip over the box and get some sense of what this unit does on the table, what their stats are, etc. So I think that's really cool as a standalone informational piece for the units.
I believe LJ said he like took that community feedback to AMG and said like, hey, like when you guys do these articles, they want to see the cards.
Perfect. That's
They
great.
want to see what they do. Like,
yep.
more information that way is great.
Nope, I agree. I'm glad they did it. Okay, so speaking of very crisp and informational card art, I will small disclaimer that I'm super embarrassed at the quality of this image. Not that it's going to be like this, but this is literally the best one we can get. This is actually off the back of the box, so my apologies. Really crisp images everywhere else, and here I am hitting you up with this. Well, it's disappointing. But we'll power through. We'll use our own ability to zoom enhance to have a look at Chewbacca here. So I believe 190 points. Armor, Arsenal 2, Inspire 3, really cool. Incognito, like you need that on an ATST. And then weak point 2 rear. Has the 3 weapons. Small change here. I mean, these weapons are all familiar to us in the grenade launcher, the twin light blaster, and then the twin blaster cannon in the form of the dice pools being double rainbow, single rainbow, double black, fixed front blast, fixed front impact 1, fixed front impact 3. But the small change on here is dropping the 1 and adding the melee. So that is quite interesting that we got a melee, a grenade launcher, and a melee twin light blaster, which is cool. Everything else basically stock standard. White defense dice surges up and down, but surge crit. So no need for Hammer's pilot, and you can't take a pilot anyway. But you might have the best pilot right here in the surge crit Chewie. 11 health, 8 resilience. Thoughts on this, guys?
Mean, just mean.
So,
Painful.
on the Wicket box, there is a discrepancy between the Wicket box Chewie. Because the Chewbacca card comes in the Wicket box and the ATST. Because the Wicket box shows the twin light blaster from melee to 3.
Yeah. Versus the twin light blaster here,
ATST,
which is melee to 2.
Melee to 2.
Yeah. I don't know. At this point, this is one of the.
I was gonna say I lean towards the melee to 3 because the original twin light blaster is
right
to 3.
Yeah, I think that's probably the case as well. But I mean, whatever it is, that's fine. I think the incognito basically makes the range band that you want to shoot at yours to kind of determine. Now, a lot of people are kind of talking about the incognito. To me, I fall in the category of this just basically makes the ATST ensure that it's probably shooting first when it wants to, because I'm not sitting for 3 turns holding this beast back. Like I'm gonna shoot first and probably guarantee that I don't take plink damage for the entirety of turn 1. If I'm sitting at range, of 3 FD cannons, they got me in range, but I can't get to them till they slide up. Well, this just says no, and then I'll move up and do my business when I want to do it, and then we'll start the game from there, kind of thing. So for me,
let's move into range 3, and we'll take care of the FD cannons.
Exactly. So for me, incognito here is again just it's a guarantee that you get to shoot first, but it's a nice and not a guarantee, because of course there is ways to get around this if you had a real speedy unit or whatever. But it's really nice that you can put this in your army and say, I don't need to go first with this to ensure that I am protected or get off my first shot. You can, but maybe in the build that we were talking about, Nick, is maybe the priority is to get those Ewoks rushing up, and maybe you're getting them all in somebody's face first, and then
with the line of sight changes, you can't shoot through it. It's incognito, so literally you can just walk it up the board.
Sure.
And you can't do anything
slide
about
in.
it.
Slide in behind it, and then it's like
say you try to throw a unit out to the side to try and get around that ATST to try and take a shot at those Ewoks. Send 2 Ewok squads to go deal with it. It's off on its own now. Isolate it, kill it.
No, absolutely.
Murder bears.
Yeah. Thoughts, because we'll get into, I want to get Cody and then roundtable after this, but thoughts on the fact that we get seemingly 2 command models in this box.
I love that they included the 2 pilots.
Yep.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Especially where they're adding the new stuff, where they're adding the new Ewoks and they're including that card in there, I like that, because some people like me already have 2 ATSTs. I don't want to buy a third just for a card.
But you'll buy a third for a pilot.
Yeah, see, I got a resin printer, so I don't need it. But yeah, not everyone has that. So yeah,
true. And I just think that these little added things in units, for me, really show that there's a willingness to sort of expand past what you did. Simply putting the model back in a box and reskinning it and adding another card, as you pointed out, isn't enough. But now it's here's a reskin of this package. Here's the cards that come into it. And if you were an Empire player and you had 1 before, or maybe you didn't have 2, or maybe you're new or whatever, it's like, here's a commander. Here's a way to model it different. Hey, you want to run 2 of these? Cool. 1 with a commander, 1 without. Here's Chewie. You want to run it in there, and you want to run, a rebel one? Cool. You have the ability to swap these pilots in and out if you want to have an open hatch. Or the Chewie model is cool. I really like that Chewie model, which is exceptional. And did you have to do it? No, but you chose to do it, and that to me is cool. I like that. It wasn't done in the first one. There was an option to do it. It just wasn't done the first time, and no, it's really, really neat. I think it's a nice little option.
It's a
yeah.
I was gonna value say, added. It's a fan service.
Yep, exactly. That's a great way to put it, Jake. It's a fan service, exactly.
You can easily magnetize the tops there, magnetize them, swap them out as you need.
Mm-hmm. And that's another consideration right there too. So when you're buying a dual faction box, there should be a way to make it dual faction with very limited, hobbying required, or very distinct. It's like, no, this is a rebel one because it's got Chewie coming out of the top, no problem. I don't really need to paint it differently. In this particular case, it works great. I like that. Shawn Des saying these added features like pilots would have been nice for Blizzard Force, Leia and Luke in Hoth gear, for example. I don't disagree. That would have been a really another way to entice people to buy a box. Because I'll be honest, I didn't buy the Battle Forces at this point, because there was no, like, the cards great, and I wanted the cards, but I was able to get them at Adepticon, which is cool. But if you throw a couple other models in there, for me, it's probably just enough to get that. And yeah, I get some extra bonus stuff that I already have. But I want to get the models that I don't have. If you put a model I don't have in a package, I want to get it. So
yeah.
And
although we do have to remember that the Battle Forces were an FFG design.
True. I mean, I just would say the opportunity's there, and I think that's what he's pointing out.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the opportunity should have been taken, but for whatever reason it wasn't. I'm glad, though, that they're listening and willing to do these.
I mean, how about I throw this one at you? What if they come out with a two person box, a Leia Luke in Hoth gear, and they include the Echo Base Defenders cards? I haven't got them because I didn't buy the Battle Force, and you give me.
I think you would buy that right away.
Yeah, the 3 command cards and 2 alt sculpts. I didn't buy the Battle Force because that wasn't enough to get me in there. But sell me a $30 box of the cards I didn't get, and the two sculpts I don't. And I'll tell you what, maybe somebody who's got a Battle Force and they already got all the cards, still spends the $30 for the 2 models they don't.
Yep. Yeah, I would consider it.
Yeah.
I mean, you could even do like some of these updated, like, say you have these units that they've done a lot of updates to, like you said, get different models and do maybe like a Rivals box. You have like an updated like Commander Luke, Vader, Leia, maybe Palpatine sculpts have some different cards there. Everything that they come. So instead of buying a core box with Commander Luke's cards and then Operative Luke, you get all the cards in one. Something like that, maybe.
Yeah, I think there's lots of opportunity for them to kind of reskin things and still be enticing enough. And here's the thing: you got to make it as a company. You have to make it worthwhile. So it's great that they please a guy like one guy, but it's got to be viable for them to kind of sell that stuff. But I will tell you, if you're selling themed commanders to fit a particular force, I think you can do well with that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Canadian Bear saying the Rebel box was the best for someone who already was into a faction because of the inclusion of R2 and C3PO. Yeah, make the component, make me want to buy things, and I'll be, obviously that's always the name of the game. Doing little things like adding commanders is definitely a way to do it for sure. So I think for me, the battle forces. Now I would have bought them if you didn't make those cards print and play, because I'm a completionist for Legion and I want everything. So I would have bought the battle force. I would have spent the $150 to buy 3 cards, which is not ideal. Probably, maybe I'm grumbly about it. But they even considered that and made that print and play so that I didn't have to, which is nice. So
you could go down the route with terrain as well, themed terrain. Have a Echo Base Defenders and Blizzard Force box, and then have like a Crash Snowspeeder and a Crash X-Wing or something, like, and not make it like, if you give me like 2 of those pieces, maybe the $90 price tag is getting a little bit easier to swallow.
Right.
But it's like the Crashed X-Wing is just, for the price, like $130 Canadian pesos. It's just hard.
What about 4 or 5 pieces of small scatter, like themed up
with the new cover rules? Scatter's kind of being sparse now.
True. I'm just thinking about
boards using it.
I'm just thinking about thematic terrain pieces, like just to get.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Is having like a Geonosis pack, a Hoth pack. People will buy that.
They could. Yeah,
like maybe
absolutely.
People don't have time to do what like I'm like you. I like making my own terrain. Maybe you don't have the space or the time to store that. You have a little box full of like nice scatter terrain. Easy.
I will tell you, you can always sell convenience in a box. Literally, microwave dinners is proof of that. I can't cook. I'm glad that they exist, but But you can always sell convenience in a box, right? Anything that is more convenient than what you're currently doing in any realm, you can always sell it. There's a market for convenience everywhere.
Oh, 100%.
So, yep, for sure. All right.
That's why 3D printers are so good.
That's true, but I mean, even that is still less convenient than picking it up already printed, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, there's always a further layer of convenience. Like when I buy models, they come conveniently all painted because I have a Jace. So that's convenient, right? So there's always a convenient way to get there. So
child labor, eh?
Yeah, well, it's older Jace, so less child. I don't have to talk to that Jace's mom. So yeah, but she's also nice lady. That wasn't a slight against her at all. So all right, let's talk a little bit about Cody, and then we'll get into roundtable because we're having a good little chin wag here. So all right, Commander Cody. And how about we do this? How about we talk a little bit about Cody, the cards. We'll talk about the unit, the cards, and then we'll go to roundtable because he's actually on the list too. So then we can continue that, but we can also get some people to kind of filter in here. So Commander Cody, just talking about him. This is no new. He's out. You could buy him. In fact, I got him sitting over there in a bag, which is great. 105 points, I think reasonable. I love his keywords. I think he's got a really good what Patreon level unlocks Jace's painting privileges. Shawn Death, you can't afford it. But and by that I just mean that I'm going to price him so high that you can't elicit services. Because listen, every time he's painting for you, he's not painting for me, and that's a problem. So Commander Cody, I think he's got a plethora of keywords, and one of the things I want to get into when I talk a little bit about it, when I was playing Cody and Jace was casting, he was commenting several times how I was playing Cody much differently than he was. Now, I actually found him to be effective, and Jace did too, and I think that is the definition of versatility amongst a unit. If two people can play him seemingly different and still find value in what he's doing for you on the tabletop. So, Anthony saying comms relay, direct vehicle with a comms relay is really good. No, for sure. I actually didn't. I didn't run it that route, but yeah, I think you're right. So observe 2, free action, jump 1, take cover 1, direct vehicle, and target 1. And I ran them with portable scanners because I thought the take cover 2 was really nice, given clones like green tokens. So I really used them more of as a defensive unit and a little less on the shooting, although his shot is good. I just situationally I didn't find that I had a lot of opportunities to shoot with him. So he has red dice save, surge crit, 5 health, 2 on the courage level. His melee is 2 red. It's good. His range weapon is surprisingly, a lot of people were surprised to see this, but 1 to 4, 2 red, 1 black, 1 white. So he's basically not quite the range, but he's like an echo at range 4. So it's better ceiling, I guess. So with lethal 1 and impact 1. So just jumping over to before we get into that, just thoughts on Cody in terms of unit cost wise, keywords.
I think he has a high skill ceiling.
Okay.
Like he seems kind of like very situational, but from what I've seen, I don't play clones myself. I'll preface that. But it seems like if you can get him to certain areas to set up certain plays, he can be real mean.
Okay,
that's kind of
fair.
what I see. Yeah, that's
Jake,
all I'll
any
really
thoughts?
say.
I haven't played him yet. I've taken in a lot of information of what other people have said. It almost seems like he wants to be 2 separate commanders.
Okay.
1 aggressive and 1 defensive.
And do you think that's
And
largely
trying
to
to
do with the build that you would make him?
It's partially those, like you have that surging to crit range 4 gun that's essentially a range 2 strike team with echo.
Right.
Like I don't know how I would want to play him. and I think that's where it goes with me. Is I don't know how I would fit him. How I think he's a support commander is what he is.
Right.
I don't know how I would build him and build the list for him to maximize that support.
I think there's a little bit of a trap in terms of what I identified with the observe. I didn't really
that's
want
range
him.
3.
I didn't really want him to be at range 3 most times, and so I was positioning and then taking cover more times than not. Now let's get into the let's pop the command cards up here for a second, just so we can have a little bit of a conversation around this before we move over and listen to the more wise people in chat. But so of his command cards, I actually haven't been bringing the combined arms at all. Not because I don't think it's good. It's just I've been pairing them with Rex, and so I've just found more value in the generic command card, and then the take that clankers, the 3-pip. No, whatever the 3-pip is for Rex. I don't think it's take. I think take that clankers is a 2-pip, but we're not programmed. We're not programmed. I think. Yeah. But for the 2 troopers, 2 vehicles, again, I've been running it with a saberless, so a single vehicle. So I just haven't found that to be much value. And again, this one here, Clone Commander Cody may perform his free actions up to 2 times. And when they declare a unit as an attack, if they do after the friendly one attacks, they can perform speed 1 moves. So really, I found that I've wanted to set up my line and not really move past where I established that. And again, that range 3 band is not where I've wanted to play my Cody at. And so this card is a bit of a trap in the sense that I'm not going to do the action twice and even once. So I've just felt that I really haven't had to take that one. Now the other two, I say that I do like it, and the 1 pip is maybe the turn where I do jump in with Cody, but I think there's an ability where you can play Cody, jump into the range 3, do your free actions, and then just move back and get back to a safer position. And you don't have to take a shot to do that particular play. A few other comments coming here. Zach saying Cody lat with some phase 1 shotguns on the lat, potentially, for sure. I do like this one in the sense that those observe tokens that go out, giving you the versatility to have suppressive and impact. And I think that's more valuable than the move in my particular case. And I don't mind the 2 pip here because this is where you just set up like, hey, if you're going to try to go in on my Cody or whoever else I issue to here, maybe in this case my Rex, you're going to pay a little bit of a price. And I don't need to shoot on my turn. I'm going to shoot when you start attacking me. And I think that there is, this is almost as much of a defensive card as it is an offensive card. So for me, the 1 and 2 pips play well. I haven't set up to bring the 3 pip. I can't remember if Chase brought this with his RT list, but perhaps it's only good, or you'd find true value when you have 2 vehicles. But for me, I think you're right, Jake, that there's kind of an offensive and a defensive way to play Cody. Maybe he's giving you the keywords to do both, but I don't think he plays like both. I don't think you should try to play him both ways.
Yeah, and that's where I'm like, which way do you want to run with him? I think the defensive, give everything to your back lines type of play is the right play. I want to play with the idea of Cody triple barks with a gun line.
Yep, I just played against that last night.
Yeah, I think that I would want guns. I would want guns on the barks.
Yep.
But I think that is the optimal route to go. And with that, I think you bring the 3 pip because you can order all of the barks.
Totally on that particular play, absolutely. I think if you're running 2 vehicles, there might be some value in there, but without it, I'm just feeling like there's other uses, and maybe in particular because I'm running aggressive tactics in the list as well. I want to play 3 pips that are going to proc me the most orders, and I'm running aggressive on Rex because I'm taking
with that.
Yeah.
You don't want Cody's cards if you're running aggressive on Rex.
And that's what my opponent ran into last night. He had aggressive tactics on Rex as well, like I have, but he was playing mostly Cody cards, and so wasn't proccing the ag tech. So just
it's a waste.
Effectively, yes. But here's the thing: he also brought a triple bark list where you wanted to get those orders. You wanted to have the Cody control. You wanted to be basically boosting up what your vehicles were able to do. So a bit of a split there. I'm going to drop the 2 unit the personnel slots on here for other units just that come in this box. But I also wanted to draw attention to one thing too. Cody generates a free aim token off target 1 if you're issuing to Cody.
Yep.
And while that target 1 feels really good to get that aim for that proc shot on that lethal, you can take another aim and then shoot and have the reroll potential there. Him just issuing out with the portable scanners 2 dodges and an aim for 1 action a turn is really nice. And then him being a bit of a token battery is kind of cool because he can take cover, get a free aim off the order, and then just take a dodge himself. And so Cody's sitting there directing off to a vehicle and generating 4 tokens a turn that's usable on all your other units, and sitting there with his courage bubble and sitting there relatively protected depending on the positioning that you have him in. So I think he does a lot. Is that a lot for 105 points? Maybe not on its own, but he is going to give you all those command cards as well. So I don't think he needs to be shooting every turn to be an effective leader.
Yeah, and I don't think you want him shooting every turn. I know his gun it's a good gun.
Yep.
But there's so many other things that you can be doing to support your gun line if you have a gun line with him.
No, accurate. All right, Waxer and Boyle. Thoughts on them? I have not run either one, but I have built a recent list where I think Boyle in a naked squad just to be a little five-man guardian battery is not terrible.
Yeah, no, I think that guardian on Boyle is good. Justice is running those with Wookiees.
Right.
And being able to basically give your Wookiees red saves for just one of them.
Yep. Potentially keeps a Wookiee on the table.
Yeah.
No, not bad. And Scout 1 on both is nice because you couple that with Scouting Party, you couple that with some recon intels. I think I built a list where basically everyone was scouting. And that felt really, really good. So Surge Crit fire support, if you're referring to Cody getting fire supported, no question, for sure. I think that is definitely a use that you can find for Cody. But again, that's going to be situational, right? The idea being if you fire that with a fire support shot, the return fire against you should be mitigated, if not eliminated. So I just wouldn't overuse Cody in terms of as a gun platform, because opponent's going to correctly identify. That's cool. You fired a lot of dice, but now I'm just going to put everything back on just your Cody, and you're not going to really be able to mitigate a lot of that fire off him, and let alone just you can just suppress the heck out of him, and then maybe he's not that effective. So
I'm one that feels like fire supporting is a trap.
Okay.
I don't use it often, partially because every time I've used it, it's done nothing.
The fire support into the saber feels pretty good. That tends to do a lot of things.
Yeah, like fire supporting Anakin saber throw, or fire supporting the saber, like with an RPS unit, just to get all of that impact.
Yep.
Yeah, that feels
fantastic.
Good. Mm-hmm. You got to be able to. I think it's situational usage. I don't think that you should overuse it, and I don't think that I think you can be found wanting pretty quick. Like in that particular game, I was really trying to bring down, the snail as quick as possible. But like I was fire supporting, a Z6 unit into another unit and not having a lot of impact generation, and just hoping for crit pools. You're generally just looking to spike off that. It's not the most effective use of that. However, pooling them together for a shot in that particular case is just as good as shooting them individually, except I'm trying to jump ahead of the queue and get the damage sunk in quicker than having to go in activation, you go, then I go. So there is situational usage of that if it's going to generate a potential step up for you, or like, for example, if you have a unit that, well, the return shot of this is devastating, but if I can get over that hump of the dodge tokens and the the heavy cover that they have and take a few more bodies out of there, then the return shot to me is mitigated. And I think that's basically what happened in my game. The RPS was fire supporting, great platform, correctly identified by my opponent. Let's kill that squad off so it doesn't become effective. And he wasn't fire supporting, but he was pooling everything together, with Arsenal to really eliminate that. And I think that's the correct usage. I think just putting them together to like overkill a unit is not the best use of it, for sure. So yes, it is a trap if you use it incorrectly. It's also incredibly devastating if used correctly. Yeah. So Jake's just jealous because he doesn't get it in his Soka list. So yeah.
No, I do have fire support in that list.
You got a Mark II in there?
I got 3.
Okay, there you go. So you got like baby fire support. So
yeah, it's crit too.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's do this. We got about 15 here before we hit that 2-hour mark. We prattle on. Awesome. You guys are full of good information. So hopefully you guys painted an entire army in that time. I did nothing.
Put some base coats on.
Okay, fair enough. So let's crack this open. We got a couple topics, and you guys can share some more things about Legion. We can talk about any of the topics ourselves. But so we got not in my experience. Basically, that's coming on the tail end of the Cody, but not just Cody. Talk about a unit that maybe your experience with a particular unit is not what everyone else is saying about that. Maybe you found Cody to be absolutely unusable. Maybe you found him to be fantastic. Maybe you found Dark Troopers to be not that great. I mean, I don't know who you are, but there's
You're living
there's
under
that.
a rock if you
Well, they
found them
can
to be.
perform poorly if you build a crappy list around them. But the Dark Troopers themselves, even in crappy lists, still perform well. But you get the idea. If you want to talk about Commander Cody, if you want to talk about Ahsoka, predictions. What are you predicting is going to be coming down the pipe at the end of the month with the I don't want to call it maybe an errata, but whatever we're going to get. Points changes, erratas, updates, etc. What do you think is going to happen? And then anything about the league, report on your games. How's it going for you? Who you've got to play? What are you excited for? Do you have any upcoming games, etc., etc.? If there's nobody on here, I'm going to talk about my game with Anthony. So to save him the agony, call in. All right, there is the link. You guys can call in.
I'm going to start off with not in my experience, and that is with Jyn Erso. She has been like the backbone, the star sometimes of my Sabine Ahsoka Jyn list. Just not dying.
I mean, that's good.
There's times because I use her 2-pip and give her and Ahsoka teamwork, and they're both sitting there with 6 dodges, and then you have the heavy cover Danger Sense 4 going with Jyn. I watched the droid player put his entire army into my Jyn, and Jyn did not take a wound.
I was just going to ask you about that, Jake. So at a certain point in my Legion brain, when I see a unit stack so much defensive tech, that's actually the last unit that I plan to shoot.
Yeah.
Which that turn he did not shoot at Jyn. That entire turn, he shot at my veterans.
Because you said no. That's what 6 dodges says to somebody. No.
Yes. I said no. And he brought up his spider the next turn when I didn't have the dodges. And Jyn tried to punch it to death.
Fair.
Fair. Because Jin's melee profile is actually fairly good with 4 black suppressive, surge to crit.
Yeah, suppressive and melee. Now, I wasn't sure, were you and I talking, Jake, about you playing a game and your opponent not realizing that she's suppressive in melee and tried to do a standby trick on you? Was that you and I having that conversation?
I think I did have that happen. Vader came up.
Yes, it was you and I. Yeah.
Into my Jyn, and took a standby, not realizing Jyn had suppressive. Looking back at it, I should have quick thinking because I had 3 dodges on her already. When he took that standby, I should have quick thinking to get that aim to force 2 more hits into Vader because Vader was at 2 wounds remaining.
Mm-hmm.
And Jyn would have survived. Even after he swung, I would have blocked all but 1 because I have situational awareness on her. I would have taken 1 wound from Vader.
I think that's something that players got to pay attention to. There's not a lot of units out there, but that suppressive in melee is really sneaky good.
And it is, and that type of, I was trying to get into a tournament type setting. If I'm playing in a tournament and you're going to stand by in Jyn, I'm not going to tell you Jyn has suppressive.
For sure. It's not your responsibility to tell your secrets.
You're right. It's not. The card's there. Some people might see it as bad sportsmanship, but I'm there to win. So I'm not going to do it.
I do think there's a fine balance there for sure. Like, for example, even when I was watching your guys' game, reminding you that you both have a keyword that you guys missed a couple times. I might think it was actually the
Dauntless.
dauntless on the Black Suns. If it's something that
I forget dauntless all the time.
Fair, right? And so in a friendly game and maybe the not most pivotal setting, that might be an opportunity where somebody kind of brings up something. If it's like, okay, you're going to do this thing, and then you have to be like, okay, I wouldn't go there because I have this standby setup. Oh, I wouldn't go there because this unit is at range, out range 2 and has relentless. Oh, I wouldn't do that. You can't tell your opponent everything about how to play the game. If they ask you a question, for sure. If they're not clear about something, okay. Or if you recognize that they are clearly going to do something that makes absolutely no sense. And I see this all the time with like, well, I'm full armor, so you have an aim. Rather than re-roll just that one dice, you might as well re-roll 2. Like, I have no problem telling people like what the most effective thing to do in particular cases. However, and then they roll 2 crits on you and you fail and you die. That sometimes happens, but you don't have to do it all the time. And it's not your responsibility to tell your opponent how to play the most optimal. But there is some element in the spirit of helping other people improve in a game that you might want to share that. Now, in that particular case, he has the option to do a lot of things and chose to do one thing. You also don't automatically melee him. Like there is, that might not be something, but if you tell him at that point, hey, listen, I wouldn't do this because if I melee you, I'll remove that. You're also then potentially locking yourself into telegraphing what you are going to do next. So sometimes it's valuable to tell your opponent something they missed. But if it's the case of like, well, if he does this and I do this, then I might do, like, if you go down the chain too many steps, then at some point you're just playing both sides. You're playing literally your list and your opponent's list, and that's not that fun either.
In a friendly match, I would have told them, like, if I'm at my local store and I'm playing somebody, maybe they only play Empire, maybe, if I know them and they're struggling with something, I'll tell them, hey, just so you know, Jin has suppressive on her melee weapon.
Yep. Now, Nick, you just did
but if it's like a tournament type,
go ahead, Jake. Sorry,
if it's a tournament prep type game, I'm not gonna tell you because I want that my secret's guarded, even though it's not secret.
Yep. Well,
it's something that I'm trying to hold.
In the league setting, the same thing, right? It's not for anything, but we are trying to improve in our craft of playing the game. It's competitive in the sense that we're each going for a win. You're not there just to put in 3 to 4 hours to have a known outcome. But you can do it through the course of the game or post game. I've heard lots of people have like that post game conversation. I think you should have done this here, or why did you do that? Or they'll be like, I should have done this, and then you might be like, yeah, but had you done that, this is what I would do. And you kind of, we're not playing again immediately, but we could play down the road. So sharing a little tech and information is fine. If we're all so guarded with everything that we do, we wouldn't have podcasts. No one would come on and talk about games played, the games they have, the list they're thinking about. No one would do any of that. And so we got a pretty open community, lots of people doing podcasts, lots of people talking about their tech. Maybe you're not, leading up to Worlds. Maybe you're not like, hey, cool, look at my list, and this is exactly how I'm going to play it. But you can share without oversharing, kind of thing. So just cycling back to what we said about sharing with new players, Nick, why don't you talk about the experience you had? I'm not sure if it's a learn to play or introductory games, but how did you guys manage new players doing maybe the least optimal thing, and how did you kind of like walk them back from doing like don't do that to still allowing them to play the game and make those mistakes?
So Anthony there, OS Dad, did a great job doing like a little kind of booklet together, kind of like what the cards are, what certain, like we did QR codes with like Tabletop Admiral, Legion HQ, and Legion Quick Guide, just to help.
Good resources.
Mainly the people we had weren't fresh like tabletop players. Some were
reformed 40K players.
Okay, reformed.
So
I like that. I like that.
yeah, I just from what I understand, that's a love hate, and they seem to hate it more. But I would kind of like I mainly stayed with 4 people specifically, and one guy was using Vader, Commander Vader, and the other guy was using Commander Luke, and it was all skirmish, right down to the wire, and kind of seeing how people were doing it. And I would kind of do a one for you and one for him, kind of help you out a little bit and I'll help you out a little bit. I'm going to make a suggestion so you understand, like, Vader can force push, move here, but maybe the better play would be to move. You have that guy on 1 wound remaining, saber throw him, force pull in these guys here, and then play your implacable card, kill them. And then at the end, for the rebel player, he had 2 ATRTs left, and it was his Vader and a very wounded mortar. I was like, so you kind of know what you should be doing here, right? He's like, I probably should just kill that mortar and make sure I score, and that's it. I'm like, yeah, like, and that was very different. And trying to be fair, trying to explain to people this is what I would do mainly, but do you understand why I'm doing that? And those guys are pretty good about it.
Right.
But I know when Jake and I played, I try to ask him at the end, like, what did I do wrong? Like,
Yep.
yes, I ended up winning that game, but like I made plenty of mistakes and I realized it during the game. So I always want to get better, and I know I'm never perfect. So yeah,
Fair.
I don't know.
Hey, if
Yeah.
you guys are open for this, and I don't think this is secret tech, and if it is, my bad, but I don't
Sure.
think it is. But I'm going to get you guys a live react. I just while I'm in this, Jace, Jake, I'm not sure if you got your Discord open, but you just get your.
I do.
Okay.
I already saw the list you're playing.
Okay, so let's live react to the list that I got to play in my first league round here. Now, keep in mind, I'm playing Kalani, triple B2 Haas, 2 B1 rockets with PK droids, 2 spider droids, 9 activation. My opponent.
What do you have on the spider droids again?
Ion blasters and attack protocols. So range 4. So I got 2 range 4 rockets, range 4 Kalani on the orbital strike, 2 range 4 ions. So here's my opponent's list: Rebel Officer, Vigilance, and Portable Scanner. Ahsoka with a Force Push, Force Reflexes into the fray and Seize. Got to look out for this meanie. And Sabine, lovely, with Recon, Grappling, and Darksaber. So 2 in-your-face units. Not bad, because I actually like to play at short-range bands with my list too, just not melee. Although I do have the, I forgot. I also have a Magnus with Whip in my list. So pinning Jedis is what we do. And then 2 Rebel veterans with the CMO and the Rebel Officer, 2 Naked Blasters, and 3 Pierce Snipers. So 10 activations. So definitely killable units. The Pierce isn't really super potent against me because I'm droids. Basically anything makes me die. But this list seems to play at 2 different range bands, though. Kind of a bit of a gun line, range 3 gun line. And then Ahsoka and Ren that maybe want to bury up in the lines. So, yeah, interesting.
It's very similar to the list that I played against Chris the first time I played Ahsoka.
Right.
I don't like strike teams. I do not like the commando strike teams.
Like, you don't like them as in you don't like to face them, or you don't like the choice of them here?
I don't like the choice of them here.
Right.
With B1s, you're looking at maybe a hit a turn if you're hitting the B1s.
This is what I'm saying. The Pierce doesn't bother me here because you're gonna kill what you hit. I think, to me, honestly, I'm gonna try to gut this army from the middle out. I'm gonna go veterans and blasters and get them off the table for the activations. And
100%.
And because a B2 shot into these rebels can one shot them, or at least put a big dent in them for sure. And ion spiders are great at killing medium blasters. They do, because they sit at a different range band and they put enough over that they could potentially also, a double tap can take one off the table. So I like Kalani. I like Kalani for an orbital strike into a medium blaster as well, because that can also actually gut one to open the game up. So I'm actually not really loving the 2 force users get in if it's a mission where I got to get near them. It's the only thing I don't like. So Magna Guard got to put in work in this.
Yeah.
Or I gotta step out and make sure B2s do big blasts. So, all right, we got a caller.
Are you ready to? Are you ready to hear mine?
Yeah, absolutely.
What
Just one second. We gotta get first time caller in here. Just 1 second. So, but if you didn't tell by the childish giggle, that's actually Jace.
I made it. I still made
Jace,
it.
what did you do to me? What did you do to me?
You do realize that the matchups are based on table, right? Like,
yeah, I know.
All right,
I'm still blaming you.
Give us the poison. Give us the poison, Jace, or Jake, whoever's going.
Okay, here's my poison, and it's a large bottle of poison.
Can't go too long though, because we got to make sure Nick gets in bed into a reasonable time here.
Yeah, Imperial
Imperial
officer, Boba Fett sees the initiative and recon intel, 2 shore troopers, 2 mortars, and 2 dark troopers with the assault cannon, frag grenade, the extra trooper, and program loyalty.
Should have brought impact, my friend.
Oh, everything has critical.
Ugh.
you were the last list to go.
I know, and I'm playing the one guy. I'm like, no, I don't want to play against him. That I knew was on that team. I'm playing the captain.
All right, who are we even playing, Jace?
Jar Jar Sphinx.
Okay, gotcha. So you're playing Zeus Juice, Jace. Oh, sweet. So we just drew.
I'm playing Zodiac.
Oh, sorry, that's Jake. Okay, yeah, you're playing Zeus. Got it. Cool. You're playing. Justice is playing Dashes.
Dash.
This team is stacked.
It is.
Okay, he's got Degree. Isn't that is that Seth? Is Degree Seth? I'm not sure. And I have Karma 5. Okay.
Although are Anthony and Degree playing the exact same list?
Almost.
What's Anthony playing? Like, what's Anthony's actual list? Is he doing Maul?
It is Maul, Push, Choke, Tenacity, Darksaber.
Okay.
4 pikes with the Disruptor and the Capo. 2 Magdet, Vigo, Frag Grenade, Black Suns, and a Speeder Truck.
Okay, nice.
I was going to say,
like
this is the exact same list that you posted, minus the command cards.
Cool. Okay, well, you enjoy those Dark Troopers, Jake.
Yeah, they literally have the exact same list.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah, wow.
Okay. Well, I don't actually mind my matchup on paper, Jace. So now on the tabletop could be an entirely different story, but
I don't like my matchup, but I'll take the bullet for the team.
Fair. Well, I hate to say it's never too late, Jake, but from your case, it's too late. They've already been decided.
Hold up. I posted the wrong list in Anthony's.
Oh.
That is Anthony's list that was posted. That's the problem.
Yeah, I was going to say, it was the exact same.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Jake, let's take a vote. We need a new captain here. First day on the job.
I'm just glad I got the one with the most line of sight block.
Yeah, I don't know what table I had. Okay, so get this.
Yeah, Mandalore.
Let's listen to this, Nick, for advice. I feel like my team's trying to cutthroat me here. So we're talking about tables yesterday, and I'm being well versed in Yavin base, paying attention to nothing. And I was just like, Jake posts up the tables, and I was like, okay, cool. I was like, don't give me, just while basically we're talking about tables, Jake suggests that I should take the table with the most open terrain on it. And go harking back to my earlier story talking about FD cans. I'm like, no, I literally need to have. I'm droids. I need to have buildings to walk up behind. I need to put my army behind something. So there's Jake trying to cutthroat me, put me on the most open table. So
yeah.
So Jake, this is actually karma.
Oh.
You got the Dark Troopers.
Yeah,
it is.
So the way the matchups went down is, so the way it works is we each attach one list to a specific table while we submit lists. So I attached Shawn's to Mandalore, and then normally what happens is then we'd each get to pair someone against them on that table. Their person was also attached to Mandalore, so Shawn and his opponent auto got there, and then we just had to go through the rest of the tables and randomly pick who we wanted. So Jake told me he wanted Star Killer, so I saved you for last. Justice said he was good. He wanted Felucia, so I saved him for second last. And Anthony said he wanted a line of sight blocker in the middle, so I put him on Coruscant first, and then I put myself on Scarif because I was like, oh, that looks pretty decent for Dark Troopers, and that's just how it went down. The matchup system's a lot different this year.
So when are we playing these games, Jace? When are we gotta gear up for this?
Between now and the 21st.
Between now and the 21st, and I got to play still like 4 league games. So okay.
So you got 11 days to play this game.
11 days to play this game, and I got to get ready for tournament too. So okay, cool.
Yeah.
Lots of practice.
Yeah.
I think mine is going to be this Wednesday.
Okay, throwing down first. Nice. Oh wait, Anthony just finished his.
Wait,
game.
no, next Wednesday. Next Wednesday.
Anthony's probably already on this schedule in the game playing tonight, probably or something.
Yeah, he's playing tonight.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to that. I look forward to talking about it. Win, lose, or draw. I got to play some league games still. Play second Sam.
So do I.
Thanks, Jake and Nick, for filling in tonight. Look at that. Stan Parks
no
coming
problem.
in.
Yeah.
Worries.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm here too, Stan. Don't forget about me. all the praise. Stan knows where the real talent's at, so I can't blame him for pointing that out. So awesome. All right. Well, I will echo Stan's compliments for coming to hang out tonight. Appreciate that. Guys, welcome back anytime. Want to come back and talk about your league game, Jake? Want to come back and talk about your Yavin-based game for sure?
Yeah, I'll tell you how bad it is.
Well, we'll be talking Yavin-based for the next little bit, and so we'll have league Yavin-based to talk about, maybe some tournaments that are upcoming, people playing that, and then, like I said, probably in July I'll be able to hit the East Coast, and maybe Nick and OS Dad and myself, we can I can either maybe film some quick footage, but we can certainly do a little prattling on about little East Coast gaming, see how that all goes. Nick, I'd love to be introduced to the fine individual down there who's trying to go pro.
Yeah.
Just point me in this direction. Feels like that's probably a great non-toxic gaming environment to play in. I should point this out, and I should have done it earlier, but if you guys are looking up top, if you remember, Legion Train gave us an April code. They've actually just sent us a May code too. So FNF May 5%. That'll get you 5% off Legion Train for the month.
Sweet.
All the painted STLs, et cetera, et cetera. And then at the bottom there, Deep Cut Studios also has a code running for us, FNF Deep Cut 10. And that'll get you 10% off any of the deep cut mats. So people are always asking about the codes and where to get them and if there's codes running. If we don't have a code running, I usually just ask them if they are interested. Somebody asked me about deep cut. I asked them. They put a code up. So Legion Train, on the other hand, just prompted to send. He's like, hey, sale's done for May 4th. Here's the new code for May 5th, for May going on. So there you go. So we do appreciate all those folks for helping us out. And folks in chat and the folks that did the stream tonight. And we'll catch you. Jace is going to play another new player on Friday. Not sure what they're going to run. I think they might be running SC, to be honest. So, Nick, maybe up your alley there if you want to see some Shadow Collective on the table.
And what should I run?
I don't know. They're new, and so I mean, not
Don't
dark
play my
troopers.
legalist. Gotcha. Top darks, right?
So yeah, it's kind of the other
4
end of
activation
the
droids.
yeah on the other end of like not helping your opponent at all. Just run dark troopers. So
I honestly might run my the Cody list I played against Anthony last
yeah,
time.
I could
'cause
yeah
I
run
really
run a
like
little
that
bit more Cody and yeah do that. Make a legal one this time, eh? None of this illegal stuff. Jake,
No, that was
that was a 501st.
Captain
Yeah,
Rex
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah. That's fine. So yeah, but no, look forward to that. We'll catch you guys on Friday. Jake, any last parting words for us? Parting shots, I mean, for Jace?
You're welcome.
24 wounds of armor.
Jake, we expect you to win your game.
24 wounds of armor and not technically a vehicle.
Correct.
This will all be fixed with one keyword. Yeah. Or one unit designation. So, all right, Nick, any final words for us other than good night?
Yeah. Good morning now. But I just hope they do something with Blizzard and Darks at the end of the month. I really do.
Yes.
I think that'd make people pretty happy.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I don't think ever would we have a unit downgrade to be less good and make more people happy in the history of this game so far.
Yeah. I think even if,
Rex Star.
I think people who use it understand how bad it is, like how oppressive.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Yep. And those people just keep using it.
It's like a drug.
Yeah.
It's hard to get away from something good. So, all right, Jason, any last words for us as a captain of our esteemed lackluster team? And Yavin Mace is the name also descriptor and probably fairly accurate.
It is right now.
Go win your games, guys.
Yeah, you too.
Fair enough. All right, guys, have a good night. We'll catch you on Friday.
Yeah.
You too.
Good night.
Later.
Bye.
Cheers.